Are you ready for a wild ride into the unknown? Hold on tight as we explore what the heck is going on with this 144,000 faithful remnant in the Bible text. We will discover a mind-blowing truth that will knock your socks off. Have you ever wondered about the 144,000, the most mysterious and enigmatic group of people in the book of Revelation? Did you know that some people think that they are a special group of Jewish believers who will be sealed and protected by God during the end times? But that's totally wrong. They are actually a symbolic representation of the faithful remnant of God's people from both Israel and the nations who will inherit God's kingdom. In this captivating video, we expose the origin and the error of the 144,000 idea and why we don't buy into it. We also explore what this means for us today. How seriously should we take this idea? Do we need to worry about it at all? Or is there a better way to understand it? You'll be surprised by what we discover in this ancient text. But before we begin, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more amazing videos like this one. And don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you never miss an update. All right, let's get started. Hi everyone, welcome to Faith Fix, where we explore the most fascinating and perplexing topics in history, science, and religion. I'm your host, Orphelion, and today we're going to talk about one of the most mysterious and enigmatic groups of people in the book of Revelation, the 144,000 faithful remnant. The 144,000 are a crazy and confusing group of people that many people believe will play a key role in the end times. They think that they are a special group of Jewish believers who will be sealed and protected by God from the tribulation and judgment that will come upon the earth. They base this idea on a literal reading of two passages in the book of Revelation, Revelation 7 verses 1 to 8 and chapter 14 verses 1 to 5. But what are the 144,000? Where do they come from? And what do they mean? The 144,000 are not a literal number or group of people, but a symbolic representation of the faithful remnant of God's people from both Israel and the nations who will inherit God's kingdom. They are based on a misunderstanding of two key passages. The first one is Revelation chapter 7 verses 1 to 8, where John sees four angels holding back the winds of the earth until God's servants are sealed on their foreheads. Then he hears the number of those who are sealed, 144,000 from every tribe of Israel. Many people interpret this as a literal count of Jewish Christians who will be preserved by God from the tribulation and judgment that will come upon the earth. But this is actually a symbolic way of expressing God's faithfulness to his covenant with Israel. The number 144,000 is derived from multiplying 12 by 1,000. The number 12 represents the 12 tribes of Israel, which are God's chosen people. The number 1,000 represents a large and complete number, which is often used in the Bible to exaggerate or emphasize something. By multiplying these numbers together, John is saying that God will not forget or forsake his promises to Israel, but he will save a full and complete number of them in the end times. The second passage is Revelation chapter 14 verses 1 to 5, where John sees the Lamb standing on Mount Zion with 144,000 who have his name and his Father's name written on their foreheads. They sing a new song before the throne of God that no one else can learn. They are described as those who have not defiled themselves with women, for they are virgins. They follow the Lamb wherever he goes. They have been redeemed from mankind as first fruits for God and the Lamb. They have no lie in their mouth. They are blameless. Many people interpret this as a literal description of Jewish Christians who will be faithful and pure in their devotion to Jesus during the end times. But this is actually a symbolic way of expressing God's inclusion of the nations in his covenant with Israel. The number 144,000 is not repeated here, but rather implied by the reference to the previous passage. The Lamb standing on Mount Zion is an image of Jesus as the Messiah who fulfills God's promise to David to establish his kingdom forever. Psalm 2 verses 6 and 7. The name of the Lamb and his Father on their foreheads is an image of belonging to God's family and having his character. Revelation 3 verse 12. The new song they sing is an image of celebrating God's salvation and praising him for his deeds. Psalm 98 verse 1. The virginity they have is not a literal sexual status, but rather a metaphor for loyalty and purity in their relationship with God. Jeremiah 2 verse 2, 2 Corinthians 11 verse 2. The following of the Lamb wherever he goes is an image of discipleship and obedience to Jesus, John 10, verse 27. The redemption from mankind as first fruits for God and the Lamb is an image of being set apart and dedicated to God's service, Exodus 19, verses 5 and 6, James 1, verse 18. The absence of lie in their mouth and their blamelessness is an image of integrity and holiness in their conduct, Psalm 15, verses 1 to 5. Ephesians 5, verse 27. So what does this mean for us? It means that we should not limit God's people to a specific ethnic or religious group, but rather recognize that God has always intended to bless all nations through Abraham and his offspring, Genesis 12, verses 1 to 3, and Galatians 3, verses 7 to 9. It also means that we should not focus on our physical or external status, but rather on our spiritual and internal transformation by God's grace, Romans 2, verses 28 and 29, and Philippians 3, verse 3. The 144,000 are not a literal number or group of people, but a symbolic representation of the faithful remnant of God's people from both Israel and the nations who will inherit God's kingdom. You've probably heard many similar ideas and wondered what they mean. What are some of the questions or doubts that you have about the 144,000? Please share them in the comments section below. I'm interested in knowing what puzzles you. That's all for today, folks. I hope you enjoyed this video and learned something new and interesting about the 144,000. Thanks for watching Faith Fix. I'm Orphelion, signing off. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring.